It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Thursday, the second day of September. And today's show, folks, and next Thursday's Travel and Cruise Industry News will be pre-recorded due to doctor appointments. So, Thursday Travel and Cruise Industry News for September the 2nd. We'll start off with our usual look at the weather. Carnival was all over the news yesterday with stories from the Valor, Glory, Horizon, Magic, and Panorama. Rotterdam is on the move. And the latest in the adventures of Hot Air Tom. But first, we got to look at the weather and welcome in Hurricane Larry. But Ida, as you see, is up there in New England. It's still a post-tropical cyclone, Ida. It's near the end of eastern end of Long Island, accelerating northeastern toward Cape Cod. Widespread heavy rainfall will continue to wind down from west to east today across much of New England. The latest numbers we had on it, she was the center of the cyclone, was 25 miles northeast of Montauk Point, New York, 130 miles east-northeast of New York City. By the time you guys see this at 11 o'clock, obviously it will be some 100 miles or so away from when I'm taping this. Maximum sustained winds, 40 miles an hour. It's moving northeast at 28. Pressure is still under 1,000. It's 998. It actually strengthened some during the night. New York City just got hammered last night. I don't know if any of you were trying to watch the tennis tournament, the U.S. Open, but wow. Some 6 inches of rain fell in each of the 5 boroughs in a little over 3 hours. You could see up to 4 inches of additional rain throughout New England as Ida exits off the U.S. coast to the northeast. And of course, Larry became a hurricane overnight out over the eastern tropical Atlantic. It's 545 miles west-southwest of the southernmost Capo Verde Islands, 75-mile-an-hour winds, 987 central pressure on as far as millibars go. Larry's moving toward the west at 20 miles an hour. There'll be a general, much the same motion throughout today and tonight, a gradual turn toward the west-northwest, and a decrease in forward speed is expected tomorrow and tomorrow night. A slightly slower west-northwestern motion is expected on Saturday. Steady to rapid strengthening is forecast during the next couple of days, and Larry's expected to become a major hurricane by tomorrow night. We don't know if it's going to interact with any land yet. It's too early to tell. It's heading in the general direction of Bermuda, general direction. There's no warnings or watches out for Bermuda at this time, but we're going to keep an eye on it. And finally, a small area of low pressure located near the coast of Nicaragua is producing disorganized shower and thunderstorm activities. Low is expected to move inland over Nicaragua this morning, but a portion of the low circulation could move over the Gulf of Honduras on Friday, where development, if any, is expected to be slow to occur. The system could move over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico during the weekend and early next week, but by then strong upper-level winds would likely limit significant development. Regardless of development, heavy rains are possible across portions of Central America and Yucatan Peninsula through the weekend. So, got to watch it. Not a great deal of chance of development. So, now let's get to Carnival. Man, Carnival was all over the news yesterday. And totally different stories on each. Carnival Cruise Line has informed guests booked on the first return sailing from New Orleans that the September 5th cruise on Carnival Glory is now canceled. The city, of course, was impacted by Hurricane Ada, which swept through Hurricane Ida, which swept through the state last week and damaged the power grid. More than 1 million homes and businesses have been left without power since Sunday. Louisiana governor has asked residents not to return to the state until told it's safe to do so. No word yet on the next sailing of Carnival Glory, which is on the 12th. And the good news from that is they did restore some power during the night last night. Now, not a whole lot of it, but they are getting a few things online back in New Orleans. So maybe by the 12th, they'll be able to accept guests into town. And of course, there's a lot of stuff that has to be done for a cruise ship to sail. You got to have some hotels open for folks that come in the day before or that stay the day after. You got to have transportation services to get from the airport to the hotels, from the airport to the cruise ship. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen before a cruise ship can sail. It's not just pulling into the dock and letting people get on board. All right, Carnival Valor. Sporting a shiny new look, a paint job, and necessary upgrades, Carnival Valor has made its way from dry dock in South France to the United States. The vessel sailed into Port Miami yesterday and docked in the early morning hours. Although she's not part of Carnival Cruise Line's resumption plans for the near future, the ship is scheduled to start operation in November. She already has a new paint job that Carnival is rolling out across the fleet, one that, of course, was viewed the first time on the newest ship, the Mardi Gras. It was not a major dry dock for Carnival Valor. Besides the paint job, the vessel received multiple upgrades to the hotel areas and underwent regular maintenance. Carnival Valor's previous dry dock was in 2016 when it had the most important upgrade. It added Guy's Burger Joint and the Alchemy Bar. So it's already had the big stuff. Now it's getting the little stuff like the new paint job. Okay. Carnival Horizon. You guys remember her? This one I found shocking and I really question what's happening here. Carnival Cruise Line is working with the CDC after being informed that 2 passengers who traveled with the cruise line contracted Legionnaire's disease. The ship in question, Carnival Horizon, has undergone extensive testing before the next voyage departed. The disease is often associated with areas of aerosolized water, such as jacuzzis and fountains. Still, it is also at home when water remains stagnant for a period of time, such as like an unoccupied cabin, and the water in the tap remains stagnant. 2 cases of Legionnaire's disease have been confirmed for 2 passengers that sailed aboard Carnival Horizon during July and August. The disease, which manifests itself as a severe type of pneumonia caused by Legionella bacteria, is spread through tiny droplets of water that carry the disease. Legionnaire's disease cannot be spread through humans. Some of you may remember some years back a Legionnaire's disease outbreak in a VA facility, hospital, and so forth, and they tracked it back to the water fountain. But anyway, they're looking at it. Carnival Cruise Line is currently working with the CDC to see if the cases originated from the Carnival Horizon. Yeah, I mean, there's no proof that this actually happened on board, and there are no other reports. So, I mean, yeah, I realize the Carnival detractors and the folks that, report things inaccurately are going to be all over this and make it look like, oh my God, now you got COVID and now you got Legionnaire's disease on the cruise ships. That's a lot of crap. Let's get the facts before we jump to conclusions, please. Carnival Magic. That's the fourth story. Carnival Magic scheduled call at Amber Cove yesterday did not go to plan, with unvaccinated passengers being denied to debark the vessel and authorities requesting additional details due to confirmed crew member COVID cases. It comes as a situation with ports remains fluid and protocols continue to change to keep residents protected. Many guests went on social media saying they were not being allowed off the ship and debarkation was delayed. A letter was sent out to guests on board confirming COVID cases among the crew. This resulted in the Dominican authorities asking additional questions. Carnival made it clear that the infected crew was fully vaccinated and a number of the crew had mild symptoms. They are all in isolation and close contact under quarantine. After the delay in allowing guests to leave the ship and enjoy their time in Amber Cove, a resolution was agreed. However, guests who were not fully vaccinated were to remain on board the Carnival Magic during the port call. According to passengers on board, there will be random testing and no beach visits were allowed. There are a small number of unvaccinated guests on each Carnival cruise ship that have been offered an exemption to be allowed to cruise. For these guests, there are already strict protocols in place, and for ports, they are not allowed to explore by themselves. Unvaccinated guests can only disembark in a port if they are booked on one of Carnival's bubble tours. So, at least the vaccinated folks got to go enjoy Amber Cove. I like it a lot better when it's all vaccinated on the cruise ships. That's a personal opinion. I don't disagree with what the Bahamas did whatsoever, and the other cruise lines are trying to do now and get everybody vaccinated on board the ship. Panorama. Debated on how to handle this one, folks, so I'm just going to lay it out like it is. You may have heard about last week's Carnival Panorama returned to port with multiple cases of COVID, plus reports of numerous passengers debarking with medical personnel. This was reported by one so-called cruise influencer and reported by several others. I haven't mentioned it on this show for 3 reasons. One, there was no word from Carnival about an unusual outbreak. And Carnival has been not as transparent as I'd like, but somewhat transparent. There was also no word or status color change from the CDC about this. And between the two, somebody would have said something if there was something major that the protocols weren't handling. And finally, and most importantly, the original article had several factual inaccuracies, like the article was written as if the Panorama had gone to all 3 ports of call, Cabo, Mazatlan, and Puerto Vallarta, like normal, and that didn't happen during the sailing because of Hurricane Nora. If you recall, there were no visits to Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta, and an added visit to Ensenada. So there were inaccuracies in the story. How do I know that the rest of the story is not inaccurate as well? Because I haven't been able to confirm it anywhere. I verify every story before I lay it out here. I don't go with anything just on rumors, ever. So, but that's me. All right. Ooh, that's an ugly picture. That's a fuzzy picture. Get rid of that. Sorry about that. Didn't realize that was a bad shot. Oh, well. All right, the Rotterdam. Holland America's newer ship. It departed the shipyard in Trieste and is now en route to the Netherlands, where she will continue preparations for her first sailing in October. Okay. Now, it was reported in this area yesterday about Hot Air Tom and his snorkeling adventures, which I could not prove had any video proof of all, other than Tom sending me pictures of a boat in the water and a sign, and the pictures of Emily supping. I do have some video proof, and actually, the truth of what happened is almost as funny as my tale of the supping, paddling, and so forth. But first, the cool part of the whole day yesterday was that Cindy got to meet Tina Turtle, the real Tina Turtle. Now, those of you that know me know that's Tina Turtle back there over my shoulder. And Tina Turtle and I talk all the time. So Cindy got to meet Tina Turtle yesterday. How cool is that? Now, on the boat, that's the captain. Tell he works hard, can't you? And that's his buddy, the first mate. He's the one that gets them tied up out in the middle of the water so they can go snorkeling. And there weren't many people on, but I think Tom said there was only 5 people that took advantage of the situation of going out snorkeling yesterday. And that's the boat looking back in at Alamorada. And this, folks, you got to understand the truth of the story of what happened. Okay? The paddling that Hot Air Tom got may have been a slight exaggeration yesterday. It seems that Hot Air Tom actually tripped over his flipper on the boat, sustained an unknown knee wound, got in the water, running the risk of being attacked by a vicious shark that was attracted by the smell of Hot Air Tom's blood. Now, if you look closely in the lower right-hand corner of this picture at the slight little discoloration there in the water, that's Hot Air Tom's blood down in the water that attracted the vicious shark that attacked him while he was snorkeling. Better story than Hot Air Tom getting paddled by the paddleboarding and hitting the head with the scuba gear by Cindy for being such a fool. I'll stick with that story. Take it to the bank. All right. So there's more pictures of Hot Air Tom out in the water looking back at Alamorada. See, I can say Alamorada now. I stumbled over that forever. And some pictures from Hot Air Tom. I'm sure Hot Air Tom is going to disagree with my depiction, my story. But you guys will see him in chat, I'm sure, today. You can see there's not many people on the boat to witness this. And, of course, that is Emily leaving the supping and hauling butt back so she could get to New York and get flooded, which is happening as we speak. And now they're getting back to the dock at Alamorada, so Tom could make it to his massage last night after being viciously attacked by a shark. That's it for today, folks. I'm heading to the doctor to see about this thing in my neck that they took out of my neck, and to see if they have to drain the lump that's formed. So that's what we're doing this morning and why I'm not live. So that's it for today, guys. I'll see everybody back here live tomorrow at 11 a.m. You guys have a great day. This is Chillie, the old fat travel guy. I'll see you next time. Later, y'all. I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.